We have our guest right here in the studio. Jibri Nokutekwa is a senior advocate of Nigeria and he's right here for us in our Abuja studios. He has reacted to some of the things that happened at that conference yesterday, and I think it will be important for us to play the report, but the thing is, time is always a matter of constraint for us. So let's just dig into it, because I have seen your reaction from that particular conference. You thought it was in order, that the president was invited. You thought a number of things that, yes, everything was very well said at that conference, but you had issue with a song that was played for the president whilst, he was about to mount the podium. And you think that it was inappropriate for judicial officers to be singing the song, "On Your Mandate We Stand." Is that correct, sir?
Very, very inappropriate. Most inappropriate. And it's the most, in fact, that's the destroying factor of the entire thing. The beautiful speech of Mr. President, wherein at paragraph 11 of his speech, he made it very clear that justice is not for sale. This is what Mr. President said. However, let us be clear. No amount of reform can succeed if integrity is compromised. Justice must never be for sale, and the bench must never be a sanctuary for compromise, corruption in any compromise. Corruption in any form of government weakens the nation, but corruption in the judiciary destroy it at its core. When justice is compromised, governance loses integrity and democracy loses its foundation.
Very strong words.
That's beautiful. I was expecting, Mr. President, that before he came for the declaration of opening of that ceremony, that is either the national anthem or whatever other music other than the political song of "Your Mandate We Stand." Maokwe, there are two institutions of checks and balances of the executive: the legislature and the judiciary. Perhaps because the legislature is composed of politicians, they may be at liberty to sing "On Your Mandate We Stand." But it is most inappropriate for the song "On Your Mandate We Stand" to be sung in the hallowed chambers of judicial officers, because that occasion held at the National Judicial Institute. All Nigerian judges, most of them congregated there. They were seated there. It appears, in my view, that they were sitting in their chambers. Mr. President was invited as a guest to declare the occasion open, which is a demand of protocol. But to turn to precede Mr. President's opening speech with a political song, "On Your Mandate We Stand," and unfortunately, you hear the echo of some jurists singing that song, or echo of voices that appears to resemble the voices of their lordships, seriously destroy the entirety of that occasion. Because justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. Mark you, Mr. President may likely to have a case before any of these judges. How will an ordinary man on the street of Abuja, or on the street of Agbo, or on the street of everywhere, feel that in the conference of judges, a political song coins to promote and propagate political philosophy of Mr. President was sung and nobody protested? So I was worried that if Mr. President did not tacitly approve that song, he would have rebuked those who sang that song. Because I've never heard that such a song of political nature is sung in an occasion in the hallowed chambers of judicial officers, and then you expect them to be singing it. Because you have admonished them on the basis of integrity, not to be compromised. But that song has the potential of been misconstrued as a tacit inducement to compromise judicial officers.
We'll come back and interrogate that in just a moment. Just hold your thoughts for us. I understand that our correspondent, Friday Okirigbe, has since joined us from the Wuse area of Abuja. Friday, if you can hear us, can you bring us up to speed as to what exactly is happening in the area where you are right now?
Thank you, Mokbe. I'm right at the Wadata Plaza, the headquarters of the People's Party in Abuja. This is where the next meeting and the Board of Trustees meeting of the group that is led by Samuel Ayamu and Abdul Mohammed are supposed to hold their meeting. Don't forget, this is also the venue where the Turaki-led NWC is supposed to hold their stakeholders emergency meeting today, as they did say yesterday. So I'm right here at Wadata. My coming here was to cover the happenings of the day. But I can tell you that our arrival this morning, we saw heavy presence of security personnel, and we also saw some of those people on the camp of Samuel Ayamu. And so we made inquiries. Of course, we even interviewed them. They said they are here for their next meeting and the POT meeting. And the presence of security men is at their invitation because, according to the Samuel Ayamu, it is a regular thing that they do in the party. Whenever they want to hold a meeting of such magnitude, they invite the police, the DSS, and other security personnel, the national security, the DSS, and the NSCDC to come and ensure that law and order is maintained. So that is the situation to speak. No meeting has started, but they are gearing up for the BOT, and then that will be followed up with
Friday, I see that, you know, even though you are there within the premises of Wadata, I also see that you're wearing a vest. And some people will say perhaps it's an indication that you expect that something could go all right today. What exactly do you see happening, given, you know?
As we speak, there is no clashes, and so one will say, "Why am I wearing the vest?" The truth is, we cannot predict how events may unfold at the end of the day, because if you follow the events yesterday, the Turaki-led NWC went to the SCD command where they told the commissioner of police that they also will be meeting at Wadata. And if you listen to his interview yesterday, it suggests that if they go by their words, there is a possibility that there could be a fight from these two groups. And of course, I'm very sure that that is one of the reasons why there is heavy presence of security personnel around, in and around the Wadata Plaza. So to be on the safe side, we have to put on our kits, our security, our vest, so that we'll just be on the safe side. But like I said earlier on, as we speak now, there is no clashes here, because only one of these groups, the two groups, only one of them is here, and they will be starting their meeting according to the National Secretary Samuel Ayamu. They will be starting their meeting in the next few minutes, 10 o'clock on dot. They will start the Board of Trustees meeting.
All right, Friday, we ask you to stay safe, and certainly we'll be keeping tabs with you in the course of the day with what exactly is happening at the Wadata Plaza. Thank you for your reporting. Our correspondent, Friday Okirigbe, who is currently at the PDP Wadata Plaza, where it appears that two sides of the PDP, the newly elected leadership at the Ibadan Convention, says they're going to be holding a stakeholders meeting, and also the Samuel Ayamu-led PDP is about to hold a meeting, their own neck meeting as well as a BOT meeting. So we will see just how that eventually goes down at the PDP Wadata Plaza. But yes, we're keeping our conversation with Mr. Jibril Okutakwa, who is still very much with us in the studios. We'll be asking questions of him shortly after this break. Please stay with us. Yes, indeed, Mr. Jibril Okutakwa is still right here in our studios for us, and he's given the opening statement on his own take of what he makes of the president's visit to the National Judicial Institute. for the judges, All Nigerian Judges Conference yesterday, which transpired here in Abuja. Appropriate words, he said the president spoke, but that it does appear that the messaging from the music did not seem to go with the words that the president spoke yesterday, and has the tendency to corrupt, if I'm reading you correctly. You can clarify.
To give the perception that the judiciary is also one of those who are also singing the mandate of the president.
Do you think that that was an oversight? Because we know that usually
such an oversight is too costly.
Yeah.
For purity of justice.
Let me land on this, because we know that usually there is a band that usually goes with the president wherever he goes, and they are the ones who play this song traditionally, and they play it at almost every event. They play it when he's at the National Assembly. I mean, just last week, judges were, as a beg pardon, editors were at the Villa, and when the president was going to the podium, that was the same song that was sung. And usually when the president of the country stands up to go to the podium, everyone stands as a mark of respect to his office. And unfortunately, it would seem that in this instance, it looks like the judges were standing on the mandate because of the song that was being played. Do you think that that was an oversight on the part of those who were actually playing the music, knowing that since the president came to office, that has been like the anthem that accompanies him everywhere he goes?
Those who played the music were not members of the judiciary.
Indeed.
And so they must be sensitive to the environment to which Mr. President goes for an occasion. That environment yesterday is like Mr. President going to the ecclesiastical cycle, where neutrality is expected. Mr. President was in an environment where judges are insulated from politics. And so we are very sensitive to issues of politics being brought to the gathering of judicial officers. Because Nigerians are sensitive and judges have code of conduct, and the code of conduct for judicial officers and even the legal profession is avoidance of appearance of impropriety. And so when Mr. President was to mount the podium, it was inappropriate for anyone to sing a political song in an environment populated by all Nigerian judges. Mark you, it is a conference of all Nigerian judges, not all Nigerian politicians or any other Nigerians. So Nigerian judges are peculiar people by their code of conduct, by all standards, by the profession that I belong. And so in those days, you will see that judges don't even allow the mingling with politicians, because you are likely to find that not too long ago, or not too long a time to come, Mr. President may be sued. And I remember when late Chief Gani Fayemi was alive, he went to one court, and a picture of Mr. President or head of state was placed in the court. He protested. That is the genesis of seeing Nigerian coat of arms in all our courts. Have you ever visited the office of judicial officer and see the picture of Mr. President? No. It's because judges are neutral.
And those little things matter.
It matters. And when you hear justice must not be seen, must not be done, must be seen to be done, it's a case that arose in England, where a clerk who had nothing to do with how decisions are made retired with the justice to the chambers. Meanwhile, in another case, that clerk had interests. And when the judgment was to be delivered, it was said, look, there's no doubt the clerk did not speak to the justices that were to deliver the verdict. But his appearance, retiring with the Chief Justice of England also to the chambers, that created an impression that justice had been compromised. That's the point I'm making. And so, if I were to be Mr. President, given the beautiful speech he has rendered, and in order to show example that he did not approve of it, if I say, look, stop that music, that itself would have built very serious confidence that he means business in the beautiful speech he rendered. But like some people have reacted, I think Nigerians are good at speech making. What is our main problem is practical reality. Do the executive arm of government, which Mr. President is number one, can they really keep to the tenets of the speech of Mr. President?
And he said it a lot yesterday. He talked about how the judiciary needs to, go along the lines of technology. Technology can no longer be a luxury. And in her own speech, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun spoke about how the judiciary is still largely dependent on the executive for financial, sustenance, so to speak. That the judiciary is yet to still have financial independence. As she spoke, she said the judges also need to enhance public perception of the judiciary through more efficiency in justice delivery, maintaining high ethical standards, removing corruption, and delivering substantial justice. These were some of the things that she harped upon yesterday in her own speech. Do you think that, given all that has happened and where we currently are, in terms of how the public currently perceives, because if you ask a lot of people, they still haven't recovered from the 2023 elections.
Aside from 2023, Maokwe,
yes,
the Nigerian judiciary is theoretically independent, practically not independent.
Yes.
And you will see, even from recruitment, let me say this, so that we don't, why is it that most governors insist on picking whoever they want
as chief
judges of their states? Why? There are a lot of issues. The Nigerian judiciaries that are supposed to be the strongest arm of government have been castrated by executive domineering.
So do you think these speeches matter? Of what effect are they?
Good. So a beautifully couched speech without practical implementation of that speech, in my view, is political rhetoric. And I think that we need to look inward. Are we as Nigerians really in the state of rule of law, or we are in the state where self-serving interest and aggrandizement represents the code of justice in our land? So I've always said that any society where justice is adulterated by partisan political selfish interests, the country is doomed. Democracy will be in shipwreck.
So what needs to be done?
What needs to be done is for us as Nigerians, as lawyers, as every Nigerian, to change from our ways of believing that nothing can be done without interference. If lawyers finish their case, retire to your chambers without allowing yourself to be used as conduit pipe to reach the judicial officers, that is one. Two, no judicial officer should also be available, even at the prompting of any person, to be used, because the oath of office of judicial officers are very serious and weighty oath that they must do justice to all manner of persons without fear of favor, affection, or ill will.
Is it still possible to clean the origin stables of the judiciary?
It is possible if we mean business. Everyone who, in one way or the other, has had his or her hands soiled in impropriety should give way. Our recruitment process should be transparent. No one should influence anybody to appoint anybody. You should be appointed on the basis of what you know, not who you know. We have had judicial officers that were very difficult to approach. Why do we now treat our judicial officers anyhow?
Let me take this one-liner from the Chief Justice of Nigeria, because she says, without genuine financial autonomy, judicial independence remains fragile. True independence is the bedrock of justice. Where it is absent, the temple of justice trembles. Independence is not a privilege. It is a moral and constitutional obligation that guarantees fairness and equality before the law. How quickly do you think this particular demand of hers can be achieved?
The Constitution, as amended, had created room that money meant for judiciary should be released to the heads of courts. It is the inability of those who have responsibility to obey the Nigerian Constitution that has crippled the judiciary. And the judiciary does not generate revenue. The revenue is generated and disbursed at the instance and by the executive. And so that is why in my write-up, I say, Mr. President is #1 politician, is the #1 citizen of this country, is the #1 chief executive. So he should demonstrate practicality, not theoretical speech, of one, insisting that the judiciary be truly independent and instruct and make example of those who subtly interfere with judicial process. He will be the one to show the example, and he has nothing to lose if he decides to do so. But until we are practical in approach, all these theories are just fine speeches that are rooted in rhetorics. When we come to practical reality, we are seeing the opposite. When they talk about that we must do substantial justice over the years in our electoral jurisprudence, have we seen substantial justice? What is substantial justice in demanding that a supreme witness should have a front-loaded witness statement? What is substantial justice about it? That we introduce sui generis in electoral jurisprudence to defeat sovereignty of the people. So when we say substantial justice, it is not a justice rooted in caricature adjudication. No, it is justice that even the ordinary people will see that justice has been done. And I do not believe the theory that public opinion does not matter. It does, because the commodity of justice is not to be served only as a la carte for the judges and lawyers.
Well, Mr. Jibrin Okutekwa, we can go on, but I believe that the point has been made that we should go beyond rhetoric. We have to thank you very much for coming on Sunrise Early this morning. Mr. Jibrin Okutekwa is a senior advocate of Nigeria. I've been speaking on the ongoing All Nigerian Judges Conference, which started yesterday. Thank you once more for coming on Sunrise Early.
Thank you, Mark. God bless you. God bless Nigerians.